Philippines tasting defeat for the first time in the AFF Women's Championship. The national women's football team lost to Thailand in a tightly contested match last night. To wrap up the group stage, Alen Stajcic reports.
Determined to clinch a top spot in Group A, the Philippines and Thailand battled fiercely in their final group stage match in the AFF Women's Championship on Tuesday. Right from kickoff, both teams went head-to-head but struggled to complete their goal opportunities thanks to their solid defense. There were plenty of chances for the Filipinas, the best one coming from a corner kick by Jessica Coward in the 30th minute, only to be saved by Thailand's keeper Chotmanitong Mongkol. In the 37th, Thailand also threatened with a header, but Quinly Quesada proved to be in the right place at the right time with an incredible block in front of nearly 3,000 fans at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Still at deadlock entering the second half, the Filipinas continued to push.
But still, Egisvik straight on goal!
But in the 75th, Thailand found its breakthrough after a defensive miscue by the Philippines, giving way to Kanyana Chetabur heading the ball to make it 1-0 for the visitors. Top striker Serena Bolden came in the last 8 minutes of the match, but it wasn't enough for the Philippines to force a draw. Despite the loss, head coach Alen Stajcic commended the Filipinas for putting up a great fight.
Unfortunately, one error cost us the game tonight, but we had enough chances to win the game. I actually thought that was a really good game. I thought both teams did really well. Both teams, showed some good attack and some resilient defence. And, I thought it was actually a good spectacle. It was probably the best football we played in the tournament. Unfortunately, as I said, we didn't take our chances. But in terms of football on the pitch, I was pretty happy.
With the loss, the Filipinas have fallen to second place in Group A and will have 2 days to prepare for their semifinals match against the eventual winner between Group B's Vietnam and Myanmar.
I think the key is recovery. This is brutal. It's probably the most brutal international tournament there is for women. To play 5 games in 9 days in these conditions is something I've never seen before. Being recovered and healthy is certainly our biggest priority.
The semifinals match for the Philippines will take place this Friday at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Alen Stajcic, CNN Philippines.
1-0. And joining us right now to go all out on this story is Philippine women's football team head coach Alen Stajcic. Good morning, coach. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Andre. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Were you able to sleep well?
No, not really. Well, bad losers. Give me another 12 hours.
Mate, I apologize. I wasn't able to watch last night. I really wanted to. I didn't want to jinx it, but turns out I am not the bad luck, the unlucky charm after all. I still owe you that steak, though. Okay, for the record, coach, because I hear a lot of different pronunciations of your names, Stajcic, but it is Stajcic, correct?
Stajcic.
Yes,
perfect.
I got it. See? Coach, we were listening to you earlier in the presser after that match, and you said that it was a good spectacle overall. The team played its best football in the tournament, despite that loss to Thailand. You even said that you were happy with the team's performance on the pitch. You were football-wise on the pitch. You were really happy with the team's performance. What can you say about the girls, the team's overall growth in this particular tournament so far?
Yeah, look, growth comes obviously over a long period of time. And this, for me, was the game where we were playing against probably our best opponent, along with Australia. Mm-hmm. And it's really where you get to test yourself. And we showed that we could keep the ball. We showed that we could be an attacking threat. We probably had, looking back, 7 or 8 good chances to score. We all know in football it's such a low-scoring game. You have to take those opportunities. And unfortunately, we didn't. And, one lapse in concentration is all it takes at this level against a good opponent. And that's what happened. And, for that reason, Thailand deserved the win. But I thought it was an extremely close game, fought out well by both teams.
Yeah, it was extremely close. I was talking to you off the air, and I was really impressed with how the girls really fought. They weren't intimidated at all with a team that's ranked 10 spots above us. And you said we showed that we can be an attacking threat. And I agree totally. And just conceding 1 goal due to mental lapse, but conceding 1 goal against one of the powerhouses of this region is pretty impressive. What has impressed you? You've known the sport your whole life, but what has impressed you the most about the girls during this entire run so far?
Look, the hardest thing in this tournament in particular is backing up. Playing 90 minutes of football in 1 week is tough. Playing 2 matches in a week is even tougher, but playing 5 matches in 9 days, it's excruciating. It's brutal. So just the physical resilience to be able to back up each day and be able to do that on a synthetic pitch. And not only that, you have to bring yourself up mentally every time as well. For a lot of these players, it's the first time they've played with real expectation of winning and performing. So it's not easy. It's not easy that the team's always been a perennial underdog and not expected to win, whereas, now the public, the fans, even the family that are there in the grandstands, and it was a great crowd last night. Everyone's expecting them to win. So it's a whole new pressure. And we're dealing with the pressure really well. But that takes time. You've got to mature. There's no easy magic wand to maturity. You just got to go through that process of experiencing all the different highs and lows of the game, and ultimately you evolve and become a better player and will become a better team.
Yeah, you said the schedule was brutal. 5 games in 9 days, but props to you guys. You beat Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and of course losing to Thailand just by 1 goal. And as our sports correspondent, Pauline Versosa, earlier reported, you will be facing tonight's winner, either Myanmar or Vietnam in the semis. Do you have any preference between the two? Be honest.
Look, they're both very good teams, Andre. Vietnam are exceptional. They're definitely the favourites for me. They showed that at the SEA Games recently. 4 or 5 excellent players in their team, especially their attacking lineup is probably the best. Myanmar not far behind. We were fortunate to come from behind at the SEA Games and pip them at the post and win 2-1, but that game also could have went either way. So the best part about these top 4 teams in Southeast Asia now is that the gap between us is so small that anyone can win every game, and it's really about winning crucial moments and ensuring that you bring your A game every time. Otherwise, you're going to get beat. And, from our perspective, for us to be pushed into that echelon with those other 3 shows how far we've come. But our next step is to go past them. And as I said, that'll take time, but definitely we're progressing down the right track.
I remember just years ago when we talk about the region, Thailand is considered a powerhouse, Myanmar, of course, Vietnam, but now the Philippines is also a powerhouse. They also have to watch out for you guys. You mentioned Myanmar. Yes, we won against them in the SEA Games 2-1 against Vietnam. Vietnam's a tough team. I think we can beat Vietnam. But what will it take, from your perspective, Coach Alen, for us to beat Vietnam and to do another repeat and beat Myanmar, if ever we're going to face Myanmar or Vietnam?
Yeah, look, obviously we're going to play one of them in the next round, and that'll be an interesting game between those 2 tonight. But, I think we showed the other night, and the part of the game that I think we have to improve the most is with the ball, our passing and our combination play. And last night, that's why I was a little bit happier. It was better passing. We had better control of the game when we had the ball. We weren't losing cheap possession and cheap turnovers, which we have been earlier in the tournament. So, it's a process of growth because we're playing against teams that are technically very good. Southeast Asian countries don't tend to beat some of the European teams a little bit because of physical difficulties, but technically they're as good as anyone. And we have to be able to match that technique so that our physical dominance can come to the fore. And we've got to ensure over time that we become fitter and stronger and improve our technique so that we can really get over the top of these countries. But as I said, we're progressing down the right track. It's not an easy path. It's definitely a difficult path. And expectations from our point of view have risen, but our players have to know now that they'll be scouted and other teams will worry about them as well. So it's not going to be an easy run playing against any of these teams anymore.
Well, for sure, our maturity has grown and has come a long way. Well, thanks to you. We're in the right journey, right path, right train, and we have the right guy leading this team. That's you, of course, Coach. Before we let you go, almost 3,000 fans. It was crazy yesterday at the Rizal Memorial Stadium last night. And Pauline was even telling me I should have been there because last Friday I was there. More people were there last night. And we're seeing more and more and more of these fans, people watching the team compete in the AFF Women's Championship. And I remember you said at the start of this tournament, Coach Alen, after you beat Australia, that this team deserves a sold-out stadium. And I totally agree. Let's talk about the response from the fans. They heard you, Coach Alen, and how they've answered your call to support this team live.
Last night was superb, and again, if we can even keep growing on that, ultimately our goal is to have a successful team, but to also grow the sport in the country and ensure that every young boy and girl, has an attachment and a connection to a team that they're proud of. So, that's the big picture, and the more we can perform, the more we can grow the game, and ultimately that's what we all want to achieve. So it was brilliant to see it. I loved hearing the singing in the stands, and again, even though we lost last night, I thought if I was a neutral and a fan sitting in the stands, I would have thought it was an exciting game to watch. So hopefully they enjoyed themselves apart from losing. I know I didn't enjoy that part, but the rest of it I thought was really good. So hopefully they come out again on Friday and on Sunday and give us even more support.
Well, count me in. I'll be there Friday, Sunday. I won't jinx it. I'll see you, man. What's that?
You're not the jinx, so you can come.
Thanks, mate. In behalf of everybody, all the Filipinos supporting, thank you, Coach, for doing this to the country and doing what you're doing. Just making everybody fans of this team. Thank you so much. Keep on going. Best of luck in the semis, whoever you face, Myanmar or Vietnam. Thank you, Coach. I still owe you that steak. We just spoke to Philippine women's football team head coach, one and only Alen Stajcic. Thanks, mate.